Wow, this is a great group of people, and I'm so glad that you all could come.
Definitely succeeded together with Rita, Noah, Ronnie, Sarah, Judy, Michal, and I hope I didn't forget anyone else, and especially the volunteers. Especially the volunteers. The new model for enhancing the services given to patients in the hospital regarding the rights and benefits. This is a major issue in the medical system, and Hadassah is now the lead in this area, thanks to Timoni. But Florence always has new ideas for forwarding Timoni to be eventually a nationwide service, which will help people in achieving their equality. So therefore, we still have a lot to do. I also want to say this is a special experience for us to work together with someone who has so much professional background and experience. Each time we meet, we learn so much from Florence. We wish Kibbunim will always grow and expand so that many people will benefit from this unique and special service, which is the creation of you, Florence. Florence once gave me a book of brilliant thoughts, and one of them suits her, and it says, to achieve the marvelous, it is precisely the unthinkable that must be thought. And this is a very good description of you, Florence, who thinks the unthinkable. With great love and appreciation, Allah and me.
That I should tell from whence I have come. Yeah? Where I've come from, that I am dealing with the rights and entitlements of people. So now I'm going to give you some of the background. If I gave you all of it, you don't know all I am. It's only giving you some. In 1968, I'm going to read most of this, I was involved with a study that had to examine the need for establishing a neighborhood information center. There was a neighborhood information center already established all over England. And this was an opportunity for academia to put forth, again, their recommendation. You know what academia does very often in terms of studies. This study got very, and was introduced in the following way. It was a rather complex and painful situation prompted a woman to call a social agency, which included the offering of homemaking services among its several functions. The mother of the family had been hospitalized and operated on, and her father had extreme difficulty in pulling himself together to get the information. This from a sophisticated program or an institution or academia in New York. She telephoned the agency to determine whether the family would be eligible for homemaking services and whether such service was actually available. My intent, she said, was to assemble information which would simplify the father's planning of next steps. I asked to speak with the worker in the agency's homemaking division with the following results. The first response was that they could not give any information except to the persons involved. Attempts to explain this person's distress and difficulties, and therefore my intercession, produced a repetition of the same response. When I suggested that perhaps they could give me information so that I might interpret it to the person involved, I was told I was not the person in need. She said that could give me some other person in need. Ultimately, with great anger and in a loud voice, I asked the worker, listen to what I was requesting and why I had to stop announcing the requirements for the total service of the agency. The final response was that this man did not reside in the appropriate geographic area, so the service was no information to the same. That was called information from a sophisticated, well-funded, and professional. Okay. I'm just using the introduction to it. Neighborhood information centers were never established. Okay, now I have to get the next thing. In 1967, I can go back further than that, I'm not one. I worked at a public chronic disease hospital called Bird S. Kohler Hospital. And one of the Welfare Island. Welfare Island was located in New York, in the East River, and it was very hard to get to. There was a little bridge that took it there. What we used Welfare Island for, and now I reveal some of my own background, is we used Welfare Island for orphan asylums. Orphan asylums. They were off to Welfare Island. We also use them for the poor. Poor. Nobody had work. Okay. So my job, when I got to Curtis Culver Hospital on Welfare Island, incidentally, today it's called Roosevelt Island and very well designed. There were two public hospitals. One at one end was Goldwater, and the other end was Curtis Culver. I was to develop, I came as a social worker. I did get involved. My first job was to develop a program that would help overcome the apathy of the hospital population. I learned a great deal from the incarcerated resident population. Apathy and depression were not alone related to their illness, but institutionalization had induced depersonalization, loss of personal dignity, and disenfranchisement. My work with the patient was to help them establish a patient organization so that there would be a collective voice and a vehicle for expressing their needs and rights. Most importantly, though, this organized effort that they could have to say about their own lives and thereby restore some of their rights as citizens. Prior to this placement, nobody was ever given information regarding their rehabilitation possibilities or potential. Rehabilitation was a discard. Neither they were informed or the ongoing welfare rights. Nothing. They expressed a desire to get off the island. The only clothes they had were pajamas and bedclothes. Where were they going? Which then required me to contact the welfare department outside. They were entitled to clothes, weren't they? Called the welfare department to send me. They don't need clothes. They don't go anywhere. I said, yes, well, once they get clothes, maybe they'll go somewhere. So basically, the first time they got a connection to the welfare department, they were entitled to different rights. Anyway, I brought her over, talked about clothes, got clothes, and said, there's a bus here too. We're going to go shopping. What are you going to do? I said, we're going shopping. Okay. We rode in the bus, now dressed in clothes, and there we were pushing wheelchairs and whatever, shopping through Bloomingdale, I'm using Bloomingdale as an example. What? Oh, about money. We'll get some money too. We'll get some money also. Okay. This was only the beginning of information as to possible rights that people have in a medical custodial institution. Immediately, with no time to bother. It's important to acknowledge that our information about rights and activating this information helps us develop the beginning of seeking other rights, and thereby a beginning in establishing the sense of identity, sense of the well-being, albeit patients in the hospital. This also further their ability to work, to deal with the decision making, the guys over there in the hospital, and authority figures in the hospital within the institution. Let me give you some of the things that occur. The patient organization that we established brought legal suit against the hospital for opening patients' mail. Where would they money? They would get some money from Medicaid, right? For their right to be rehabilitated and their right to be assisted in returning to the community. Recreation programs took on new forms. Rather than birthday parties and song festivals and bingo festivals. There were more demonstrations at Gracie Mansion. Gracie Mansion means where our mayor always resides, at Gracie Mansion. Demanding housing for the handicapped and direct confrontation with the commissioner of hospitals. When we talk about Gracie Mansion, I recall very well. My husband and I, we took busloads, you weren't there, John. We took busloads of patients out. And what were we doing? Took them off the buses, and we had a whole slew of people, and we were pushing the wheelchairs, and we were pushing the patient all the way to Gracie Mansion to demand their rights, and the mayor should know that they existed. This experience taught me about the courage and will of people. Handicap, dependency, or aging does not obliterate a person's feeling of pride or wanting to struggle to find a place in the sun. Apathy and disillusionment results from placing them in a situation where they no longer matter, and where they become part of the organizational unit, which at best struggles to work at mass efficiency. Apathy results from our letting people know that they no longer have any say over their own lives. That their confidence is measured by their productivity and their freedoms of choice and self-expression has been obvious. I saw the individuation as its expression in all human striving. The crippled and the dying had not given up their striving, rather had been suppressed by caretakers and the disengagement of the community. I'm going to give you a wonderful illustration. A polio victim, institutionalized at this hospital since the age of 14, obtained a college education. While institutionalized, he was able to breathe with the assistance of a respirator. His right to education was obtained in the following day. After a court battle, one of the least statements that can be made was that education is a public right and should not be restricted because of institutionalization. By using a video camera and being connected to Long Island University, he became a baccalaureate at the age of 40. This is an example of knowing their rights and patience in custodians. Okay, I'm going to give you. Decade of the 70s, there was a Moreland Commission. You remember that? Moreland Commission was set up to investigate the horrors of what went on in nursing homes and the horrors of it. Once again, it revealed opportunity for me to push against a total system of nursing homes. During this time, I had just started working with this supervising a nursing home reporting system. This reporting system had been in place for 10 years, but never took action to reveal the abuse of the system. Once again, as I took on this position, it became obvious to me that the professional health and social work establishment would do little more than cover their past and present mistakes and ride out the storm of the investigation. I really do thought myself. I therefore resigned from this paid position and as a volunteer, took on the task of dealing with patients and family complaints. Placed at the patient, public and legal issues for every hour that the time in order. In short, I became a nursing home helper. Why did I pursue the task and cause that to most seems too soon and most often disturbs people's sensibility? Old age in America is often a tragedy. Few of us like to consider it because it reminds us of our own mortality. It demands our energy and resources. It frightens us with illness and deformity. It is an affront to a culture with a passion for youth and productive capacity. Let me share with you some experience I've had with the crippled and ill. I know I'm going on too long.
No, that's very good.
First of all, there was a woman called Sarah, age 27, a victim of cerebral palsy, was encouraged and convinced to participate in the demonstration that would give evidence that our transportation system does not allow freedom of access and therefore use by the handicapped. I said, come on, Sarah, let's go. We'll go demonstrate together. When I look in the mirror, she said, I see a normal, healthy young woman. When I go out into the world of healthy people, my deformity becomes visible. I am not only shunned, but this revelation does not allow the mirror to blur the deformity ever again. She could not talk in terms of her impossible. But on the other hand, let me just give you another. An 88-year-old woman